Hello, welcome to Radio Bravery Live. I'm your host, Justin Belshaw. We've got the first Led Zeppelin song I ever heard when I must have been about 10 years old. I think I heard this song, Rock and Roll, and it's been a long time. The website is youtube.com/RadioBravery, facebook.com/RadioBravery, and radiobravery.wixsite.com/news. You can also check out my Instagram at RadioBravery and my Twitter at RadioBravery. I've got plenty of sites out there, but I certainly don't use the Twitter that much, but I need to, and I'm going to. I'm going to be on Twitter today, guarantee it. Maybe I'll do a Periscope as well while I'm walking around later today, but let's go ahead and jump into the news because I've got a jam-packed show for you today. I have been sleeping about as much as Donald Trump lately, about 4 hours a night, and that has led me to be up researching all night, and yeah, so I've been a very busy boy, busy beaver. Again, my name is Justin Belshaw. I'm your host. This is Radio Bravery Live. We are at about almost 3,000 views, but still only 20 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and apparently it'll take 1,000 subscribers before I can actually go live to you on my phone on YouTube. So, that may take a while, so anybody who can help me out by subscribing to my channel, that would be incredible, and I would love you very much. Thank you again for joining me. This is Radio Bravery Live, and that was Led Zeppelin bringing us in with Rock and Roll. So let's go ahead and jump to this first article here. Bombshell. This news is breaking just moments ago, or about an hour ago or so. This is from Breitbart.com. Bombshell. Roy Moore accuser Beverly Nelson admits she forged the yearbook. Uh-oh. Yeah, so, again, I've never once, if you've watched this show in the past week or two, I have never once defended Roy Moore. I really don't like Roy Moore. I really don't support Roy Moore. But looks like Beverly Young Nelson has finally admitted she forged a portion of the infamous high school yearbook that she and attorney Gloria Allred used as proof for her accusations against Senate candidate Roy Moore. So this is now breaking. This is a NBC exclusive. And yet another blow to the credibility of ABC. The disgraced left-wing network downplayed the bombshell by presenting this admission of forgery as adding notes to the inscription. Worse still, the reporter actually coaches Nelson, puts words in her mouth to downplay the enormous significance of her deceit. Beverly Young, this is ABC saying, Beverly Young Nelson, one woman accusing GOP Senate candidate Roy Moore of sexual conduct, tells GMA it sickens her to think what might happen if Moore is elected. Oh, yeah, well, you lied. That is perjury because you basically are making a legal claim against this man that could be used as defamation, so you better watch yourself, lady, because you can't be adding things in your yearbook and making up little lies and stories. That's not how it works here in America. You don't get away with just forging, lying, and defaming people. You know, it doesn't just you can't just get away with that here. This is a free country where we all have rights, so we're all innocent until proven guilty. So that news just broke. That's on Breitbart.com. Let's go to this one from Bloomberg.com. Dina Powell. This is also just breaking at 10:58. It's 11:19 now, so about 20 minutes ago this just broke. So this is breaking news right now. Breaking news. Dina Powell to leave the White House National Security Post. This is the Deputy National Security Advisor who took over after Michael Flynn was fired. One of Trump's biggest mistakes that he even says himself. But now Dina Powell will be leaving early next year, and this is a globalist drain from the swamp. I am very pleased to see this. I'm very pleased to see Dina Powell getting the hell out of that administration. She does not belong there. She is a globalist shill. And she is moving on, and I hear from a little birdie or two that Gary Cohn may be next. Gary Cohn, we've covered him and his globalist goals, and Gary Cohn is not an America firster. So Dina Powell is out officially at the White House. She will be gone starting the first of the year, or somewhere at the beginning of the year. Next year in 2018. So you may not have heard about this, but 3 days ago now, on December 6th, Barack Obama actually gave a speech at the Economic Club of Chicago, where he, this is from newsbusters.org, warns Trump will lead America to genocide like Hitler. Media yawn. I like that headline. But yeah, this is very, very, oh my gosh. I cannot, oh Lord. So here's the, let's see where I can find the actual quote here. This is what, this is a small excerpt from Obama's speech there at the Chicago Economic Club of Chicago. Here's a small excerpt. Obama moved from that to talking about a nativist mistrust and unease that has swept around the world. He argued such things as the speed of technical change and the uneven impact of globalization have come too quickly to be absorbed into many cultures, bringing strange new things and people into areas which people didn't use to challenge your assumptions. As a result, nothing feels solid, he said. Sadly, there's something in us that looks for simple answers when we're agitated. Still, the U.S. has survived through times before and will again, he noted. Particularly, the danger is growing complacent, Obama said. Then he says, quote, "We have to tend to this garden of democracy, or else things could fall apart quickly. That's what happened in Germany in the 1930s, which, despite the democracy of the Weimar Republic and centuries of high-level cultural and scientific achievements, Adolf Hitler rose to dominate," Obama noted. 60 million people died, so you've got to pay attention and vote. Wow. That is an incredibly defamatory statement. Because Trump is literally Hitler. Literally Hitler. Yeah, 60 million people died. You gotta pay attention and vote. Otherwise, Donald Trump might cause genocide in the U.S. Yeah, Obama. You fear-mongering, anti-American piece of garbage. The worst president we have ever had in the history of our country. That, I'm just going to leave that at that because I'm already getting heated. And we know how wild I get when I get heated, and we don't want that because then we get through no news, no information, and no knowledge. So let's move on because Trump is literally Hitler, as Obama says, and he's literally going to cause genocide. 60 million people he's going to kill, apparently. That's what Obama's hinting towards. But if you look at CNBC, November non-farm payrolls rise 228,000 versus a 200,000 estimate. So this goes on to say that now in November, Trump has created 228,000 new jobs. This is a monthly thing, and I cover it every month. I cover the jobs numbers, and we have not hit a month where we've not gained at least 100,000 jobs. 228,000 jobs, that's 28,000 more jobs over the 200,000 estimate. So we are now, we'll go to this Gateway Pundit article to coincide with those numbers. Trump job numbers out. Unemployment at 17-year low. And Obama in his speech was also saying, thanks, Obama, giving himself credit for these job numbers. Still giving himself credit like a narcissistic child. this temper tantrum throwing piece of garbage Obama is still giving himself credit for a 17-year low unemployment. 2.2 million new jobs since election. 2.2 million new jobs since the election. I'll say that one more time, just for the people who ask me, what has Trump done? What has Trump done? 2.2 million new jobs since the election. More Americans working than ever. This unemployment is at a 17-year low. 17-year low. Okay, folks, so if you're not paying attention, or if you are bored, then you are not paying attention. And if you're not paying attention, then you, of course, are not going to know anything that Trump's actually doing. Because you have to look for it. Because it's not just on the front page. No, no, no. They don't want you to see that Trump has created 2.2 million new jobs because of these tax breaks and because of incentives and because of killing the TPP, killing the Paris climate deal. These things are job creators. This is Trump's goal. Job creation. Get America back on its feet. And it is happening with 2.2 million new jobs. Unemployment at a 17-year low. And that brings me to this next one from Twitter. This is Ivanka Trump's Twitter. The Hispanic unemployment rate has now dropped to 4.7%. This is the lowest in the history of the United States of America. The lowest Hispanic unemployment in the history of the United States of America. This is the lowest Hispanic unemployment rate we have ever had in the history of our free country. 4.7%. That is incredible. This is from the actual jobs report site, bls.gov, news release. This is the new jobs report. 4.7% unemployment for Hispanics, the lowest it's ever been in the history of our country. In the history of our country. Okay? So that is fact, and that's the bottom line, folks. That's the way the cookie is crumbling in our favor. For the first time in years, for the first time in my lifetime, our country is moving forward, and we are working America first, and this is incredible. 4.7% unemployment for Hispanics. That's the lowest it's ever been in the history of our country. It's incredible. Incredible. So let's move to this next article right here, get into a little science news, because I cover stuff like this all the time, and people always tell me I'm crazy. I'm so crazy. I think you're crazy. But the New York Times doesn't, because scientists inject information into monkeys' brains. This is from the New York Times. When you drive toward an intersection, the sight of light turning red will or should make you step on the brake. This action happens thanks to a chain of events inside your head. Your eyes relay signals to the visual centers of the back of your brain. After those signals get processed, they travel along a pathway to another region, the premotor cortex, where the brain plans movements. Now imagine that you had a device implanted in your brain that could shortcut the pathway and inject information straight into your premotor cortex. That may sound like an outtake from The Matrix, but now 2 neuroscientists at the University of Rochester say they have managed to introduce information directly into the premotor cortex of monkeys. The researchers published the results of the experiment on Thursday in the journal Neuron. Although the research is preliminary, carried out in just 2 monkeys, the researchers speculated that further research might lead to brain implants for people with strokes. So this is very intriguing. There's always a good side and there's always a bad side to all technology. Quote, you could potentially bypass the damaged areas and deliver stimulation to the premotor cortex, said Kevin Mazurek, a co-author of the study. That could be a way to bridge parts of the brain that can no longer communicate. So this could be an incredible feat in science and technology. Scientists inject information into monkeys' brains. That's a headline at thenewyorktimes.com. Now, I'm going to move to this next article from cnsnews.com. Census Bureau, 5 richest counties just so happen to be D.C. suburbs. Really? That is why we are draining the swamp, and we are sick and tired of the rich Washington elites running our lives, stealing our money, and rubbing our noses in it daily. The 5 richest counties of the United States, when measured by median household income, are all suburbs of Washington, D.C., according to the American Community Survey data released today by the Census Bureau. According to the American Community Survey's new 5-year estimates, 2012 to 2016, the 5 richest counties are as follows. Loudoun County, Virginia; Falls Church City, Virginia; Fairfax County, Virginia; Howard County, Maryland; and Arlington County, Virginia. Really? That is pretty interesting. And the average household income is over $100,000 in those households. So that's where we lie. And even if you go below the 5, you have New Jersey, then you have a couple, New Mexico, Colorado, then you go to number 9, you have Virginia, New Jersey, New York, California, Maryland, California, Virginia, New York. It is all where the corrupt politicians live and hide. And this is not really shocking, but we need to bring an end to this, and we need to bring this money back to the people. We need to have, we need to elect people who are not hoarding all of our taxpayer dollars so that they can buy mansions and rich Mercedes Benzes. No, that is not why we elected these people. We elected these people for change, and they are not doing it. So it's time to go. Time to drain the swamp. Let's go ahead and move on to this next article from the Times of Israel. This is regarding the new announcement that they will be moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, the U.S. Embassy. Abbas must decide how far to let the demonstrations go, with Palestinians of all factions taking to the streets in protest of Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem. The PA president holds the key. If there are no big surprises in the region, and there don't appear to be any on the horizon, there are likely to be several stormy days over the weekend, and not because of the weather. In fact, an improvement in the weather is likely to make the protests in the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza, which began Thursday with a Fatah organized general strike in Palestinian cities, and are likely to intensify Friday, even more tempestuous. So it is getting pretty heated there. There's a lot of burning of pictures of Donald Trump. Oh, they're getting them good. I love how people just do these silly baby things. Oh, well, let's burn pictures of him.
Hey, my little angel. I am getting...
Just burn pictures of them, yeah. So that, I'm getting some weird feedback all day. I've had my phone start typing on its own for about 60 seconds. That happened earlier today. I could only hear it through my speaker because my phone was off and closed and dark, and I couldn't even see it at all. But I just was hearing tick, 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 blink, tick, 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 blink, like it was sending stuff from my phone. That happened earlier today. Happened after I got a weird message from someone claiming that they dated Russell Simmons, and trying to defend him to me about my report I did on his allegations of sexual harassment and assault and rape. I mean, if this girl who's talking about Russell Simmons is right, is true, and this is a factual story, that is rape. That is rape, and he is a rapist. So I'm not claiming that he is a rapist, but I am saying that it deserves to be looked into, and anybody who has an allegation like that, it's probably going to be true. You know, odds are, because people don't, psychologists all agree, people don't go and make up extremely lavish stories like that. It's psychologically too hard for them to even fathom a weird story like that in a lot of cases, and to go and deal with the public humiliation and the thousands and thousands of defenders that he must have probably harassing her. I really highly doubt that someone wants to go through that personally in their life because they want to get a little attention. That's not the kind of attention that most people want. But yeah, I had a, I'll go over that later. Or actually, I might as well just go over it now. the comment I got on my video. Let's see here. Pulling up my channel here, youtube.com/RadioBravery, so I can find this video. Of course, for some reason, every time I go live, everything seems to just slow down a bit, and it wasn't having a problem before, not at all. But the video was, here, let's see. The video I'm talking about is entitled "The Truth About Russell Rape Simmons." And I got this comment. I've dated Russell Simmons, and although he may seem ambitious, if he really likes someone, he in no way makes you feel forced or feared. Well, Jenny Lumet didn't feel that way. She felt fearful and forced. Basically, she went on to say, Russell may have to review his own aggressive behavior, but in no way is it criminal or have malicious intent. Aggressive behavior usually does have malicious intent. And she says, I'm sorry that she chose this time to share her regrets, but Russell was respectful of my wishes when he realized I had blah blah blah. Then I basically just said, that may be true in your case, but most psychologists would agree that coming forth with such an elaborate story, which is so traumatizing, is almost never exaggerated in those cases of sexual misconduct. So that strength it must have taken for that woman to come forward with all the criticism she has, I'm sure, received, and the thousands of defenders Russell has. I could care less about whether he is simply aggressive or a sexual predator. It is a sign of character to take advantage of another human being, especially sexually, and most good human beings have the self-control, morale, respect, and decency to never act on that. Russell Simmons, you failed men, women, humans, everywhere. Sorry, not sorry. And she is still commenting back, and I will address those comments to her with complete and utter respect. And I'm not trying to demonize anybody in this situation, but all I'm trying to say is if these allegations are true, I have no remorse for Russell Simmons, and at this point I'm not going to defend someone who has been accused of raping another woman. I don't, I will, and again, innocent until proven guilty. I totally stand by that, but this guy does not seem innocent to me. So that is just my personal feelings behind it, and that's why I did that video, and that's why it was important for me to cover it, because rape is not a joke, and it is very serious to me, and I very seriously will continue to cover every story like that, unbiased. So let's move to back to the moving of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. Israel strikes Gaza militant posts after rockets fired at Israel. This is the army, is the Israeli military. They said that an aircraft and a tank had targeted 2 posts belonging to militants in the Gaza Strip after 3 rockets were launched at Israel. This again is in response to the announcement that they're going to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv. And then we have another article that was from Reuters, and this article is also from Reuters.com. Hamas calls for Palestinian uprising against Israel. And this is just the kind of division that we don't need. And I don't have a player in the game. I'm not fully aware of all the geopolitical points to this matter, but it is disgusting that Hamas is calling for uprising against another country. Why is this uprising? Who are you, the resistance? The fake resistance? The Hillary resistance? Uprise, rise up. Like Powell's books. Read, rise, resist. Read, rise, resist. Just shut up. It's so pathetic. The powerful Palestinian Islamic group Hamas called on Thursday for a new uprising against Israel after U.S. President Donald Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as the Israeli capital. We should call for we should call for and we should work on launching an Antifada in the face of the Zionist army. Oh man, these two countries are never going to get along. I don't understand it. It is so ridiculous. So we'll continue to cover that as it develops. Like this article is from this morning. Rage against the world, Jerusalem riots spread globally as terror group Hamas promises day of rage over Trump embassy move. And then we have a new development in the ex-Argentine president. Judge seeks arrest of ex-president of Argentina on treason charges. So this is interesting. Socialist hellholes like Argentina, led by people like Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner, the former president of Argentina. This is where they are. This is who leads socialist societies. Treasonous leaders who are against their people, who lie to their people, deceive their people, and manipulate other countries. The former president is being charged with treason and other charges relating to Iran's possible involvement in the unsolved 1994 bombing of a Jewish community center in Buenos Aires, which killed 85 people. The request, made as part of a criminal case, added drama and uncertainty to the legal troubles that have engulfed Mrs. Kirchner, who was in office from 2007 to 2015 and is set to begin a term as senator on Sunday. She also faces unrelated charges in several corruption investigations. Wow, shocking. A socialist leader involved in corruption and treason. Oh, yeah, well, that's what happens in socialist societies, folks. So we've got this next article we'll move to. I'm just jumping through them. Pretty proud of myself this time. I'm not getting too caught up. We are actually getting to the news. This is from NewYorkDailyNews.com. White House announces physical exam for President Trump the day after he slurred through a speech. Trump will take the exam at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland early next year, and the results will be made public, Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said Thursday. And this is, I believe, all strategically being done because Trump already knows the Secret Service has been talking to InfoWars and other news agencies and reporters about how they are all trying to remove him on psychological conditions. And so I believe this is just a preemptive move to show you that as a 71-year-old man, I believe he's 71, that he is very physically fit, very mentally sound, and they are planning on proving it by early next year. So we'll continue to cover that early next year as the medical records are released and made public of Donald Trump's medical exam. So that is very interesting news, and it is sure a war on against the deep state right now. Moving forward, another Reuters.com article. North Korea says U.S. threats make war unavoidable. China urges calm. This is from Seoul, South Korea, Reuters. 2 U.S. B-1B heavy bombers joined large-scale combat drills over South Korea on Thursday amid warnings from North Korea that the exercises and U.S. threats have made the outbreak of war an established fact. Unestablished fact. The annual U.S.-South Korean Vigilant Ace exercises feature 230 aircraft, including some of the most advanced U.S. stealth warplanes, and come a week after North Korea tested its most powerful intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, to date, which can reach all the way to the United States. North Korea's foreign ministry blamed the drills and confrontational warmongering by U.S. officials for making war inevitable. The remaining question now is, when will the war break out? It said in a statement. We do not wish for a war, but shall not hide from it. So now Kim Jong-un and the North Korean government is basically saying war is inevitable. We are standing on the red line, folks, and I will be here live breaking it as it happens. I hope it doesn't. I wish we could send Ron Paul there as a peace envoy. I covered that the other day. That would be an incredible option. But now, since you've heard me rant for... where's our time signature? You've heard me ranting now for 30 straight minutes. Thanks for putting up with that. Let's go ahead and jump to a Paul Joseph Watson video. Or I guess, no, this isn't a video, excuse me. Oh, yeah. So this is a Paul Joseph Watson video, and there's a article on Infowars.com as well where you can find the video. CNN admits Trump has kept most of his promises. News network shocked that president would risk angering elite by actually following through on his word. So here's this video. Paul Joseph Watson Alex Jones talking about Trump's promises.
NBC News, CBS News. They've gone from saying Trump's a liar, Trump's evil, Trump's a fraud. That hasn't worked. To, okay, Trump is telling the truth because they know his constituents and his supporters know he's telling the truth. But that's a bad idea, and he's a rube, and he's a hayseed, and he's a buffoon, and the experts know he's wrong. Same experts said he couldn't win. Same experts said we couldn't have 3% growth rate. Same experts say he couldn't control the border. And so they give a report card. There's two different articles. Donald Trump, keeper of promises. And there's a big article making fun of him and how he's obsessed with delivering. Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing something incredible happen. The entire planet is turning against the globalists, not just here in the U.S., but all over the world. And the Democratic Party is officially now a coastal elites party.
So here is Trump's promises and how he's keeping them from
the truth
CNN.
Because they know his constituents and his supporters know he's telling the truth. News. But that's a bad idea, and he's a rube, and he's a hayseed, and he's a buffoon, and the experts know he's wrong. Same experts said he couldn't win. Same experts said we couldn't have 3% growth rate. Same experts said he couldn't control the border. And so they give a report card.
Look at that.
There's two different articles.
1,
Donald
2,
Trump,
3, 4.
keeper of promises.
Boom, 5, 6.
And there's a big article making fun of him and how he's obsessed with delivering. Then they got another article that is a graph breakdown tracking Trump's promises. And then they go through it with a rundown, where it stands. And this is a rare moment where CNN is actually somewhat honest until the end. Trump's travel ban 3.0 is now snaking its way to the Supreme Court, which said on October 24th it wouldn't hear arguments about the second one, which has now expired. Well, they've actually approved it. About a week earlier, a federal judge in Maryland blocked the third ban, finding that it wasn't tainted by religious discrimination. Another federal judge in Hawaii did the same thing, saying it plainly discriminates based on nationality. More details here. So they throw a racism thing up front that has nothing to do with it when it's about sovereignty and basic vetting and not having the UN vet who comes into the country. That's who's been in charge. Trump's now pulled out of that. And they finally get into what he's actually done. Number one, Trump signs an executive order, suspends for 90 days the entry of persons from 7 heavily Muslim nations: Syria, Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, and this order. And it goes on to say he delivered on that front. Then it continues, and where it currently stands at this level. But the best way to do this is just to put the graph back on television for me, please. And because this printed off differently than I actually read the whole thing this morning. So there it is. He's about 30% there on repealing and replacing Obamacare. I'd say with these latest tax votes, he's about 70% there. But at least they admit he's trying to do it. Halt Muslim entry to the U.S., they say he's 80% there.
It's not a Muslim ban.
That's unvetted Muslims. So again, the lies are in the headlines.
They're nowhere near the biggest Muslim populations in those countries.
Halt Muslim entry in the U.S. No,
nowhere near.
Halting unvetted people from countries that don't even have real passports.
Yes.
Move the U.S. Embassy to Israel from Jerusalem. They say he's
3 of those countries don't even have passport
from Paris
offices.
Climate Agreement.
They don't even give out real passports.
That's the global carbon tax that Al Gore makes money off of, and that India and China and everybody else are exempt from. Block Syrian refugees. They say he's 70% there. Reverse environmental restrictions. You mean red tape meant to shut us down? They say he's about 60% there. Improve Russian relations. He's 10% there, but they're not letting him go the rest of the way. Build a U.S.-Mexico border wall. They say he's 20% there. I'd say it's more like 40% because they're already building the demos and started. That's half the battle. Deport millions of undocumented immigrants. He's already deported about 35%. Green light pipelines like DAPL and Keystone. He's 90% there. Withdraw from the TPP. Global total takeover. 100% there. Renegotiate from the withdrawal of NAFTA and GATT. 70% there. That's
this is actually real news from CNN. Real news from CNN. I know it's rare. I know it's unbelievable.
Lower taxes.
This is real news
for
from
individuals
CNN.
and corporations. He's about 15% there. And with this week's tax vote, I'd say he's 40% there. Reintegrate,
biggest tax
renegotiate the
Kennedy.
Iran deal. 20% there. Bring back torture. 0% there. That's something I don't really agree with, and he backed off that. He's just being open when he thought, because it's already going on. And he was just being honest, and I don't even agree with it, but that's it. But then I agree with being honest.
Look at that defeat
so there you go.
ISIS
That's
one.
actually not true.
That one is my favorite right there.
Yeah.
Defeat ISIS. 80% there, baby.
I think it's dangerous to turn into what we're fighting, but there you go. It's certainly been working so far, though. Get rid of Common Core. Hasn't got that done yet, but it's trying. Defeat ISIS. They say he's 95% there, 90% there.
Oh, yeah.
Create a Muslim registry.
He is 80%
that's how they
there.
spun it. It's
ISIS
not a Muslim registry. It's an extremist registry of people saying they want to kill folks. Okay? So that's just a fake point at the end. Build a Guantanamo Bay. That's not what he said. Rebuild America's infrastructure. They say 0. No, he's already gotten about 15% of that going. They're just trying to tell you, like Lloyd Blankfein said, it'll never happen.
So that is Alex Jones breaking down the latest CNN article admitting that Trump has kept almost all of his campaign promises and that he is literally obsessed with it and making his constituents and voters happy. Isn't it incredible? I've never had someone I voted for do that for me. I've never had a politician actually care about what I say and think and vote for. But wow, it's pretty refreshing. It's pretty refreshing to see all those things that are actually being done and have CNN right there, the fake news network, the Clinton News Network, actually telling you the truth that he is following through on dozens of campaign promises. Wow, it's incredible. It is truly incredible. So let's go to this next article. I just thought this one was a little bit interesting because I've covered these supersonic booms or mystery booms going on in the U.S. Here for quite a while, at least a couple of years. I've covered different stories about this, mainly in Colorado, I believe Oregon, Florida. I'm trying to remember. I believe Idaho as well, or Utah maybe, but definitely Colorado is probably the biggest one where most of these mystery booms have been taking place. But I've been covering this for a while, but now there's a new theory. Mystery U.S. booms explained, question mark. This is the dailystar.co.uk claims supersonic jets on secret missions causing the noise. The loud, unexplained sounds have been heard dozens of times across the country from New Jersey to Colorado for months. In mid-November, shocked residents in Alabama were left so alarmed by the noise they even called police to investigate. They dubbed it Bama Boom or Bama Boom, saying it was so powerful it actually shook houses and left windows rattling. However, NASA and the U.S. Geological Survey said they had no idea what was causing the booms, saying they could only theorize. But then, now recently, it is thought supersonic aircraft are most likely responsible for more booms, and more booms were heard on Wednesday in Texas. After a number of loud explosions, a Fort Hood spokesman confirmed live fire exercises and B-1 Lancer bombers were responsible. And folks, we all know there are dozens of secret military aircraft that you've never even seen in your life. You probably couldn't even fathom the speeds that these planes can go, the I mean, it is just incredible. I would love to be able to see some of this stuff, but it is beyond what we could even imagine, folks. They say on average the technology that you see the military has had at least 30 years before that. The U.S. Air Force has not confirmed or denied whether its jets were responsible on previous occasions, but occurrences of the boom seem to match up with days military exercises were taking place. So this is interesting breaking news here, and I'm going to continue to cover it because I've always had the theory, and I still believe that a lot of those booms in Colorado are underground tunnel building for secret bases for the elite and for military. But, you know, it definitely could be sonic booms from planes taking off at extremely high speeds as well. So that's just a pretty interesting side note that I wanted to just look at. But here's an article from the Associated Press, apnews.com. This one, I haven't read into this guy too much, but it was just very intriguing, and I wanted to make a note of it so that everyone else can go and check it out. And I'm going to read more up on this guy and what he's done. But this headline just kind of blew me away. Chronicler of Islamic State killing machine goes public. The historian carried secrets too heavy for one man to bear. He packed his bag with his most treasured possessions before going to bed. The 1 terabyte hard drive with his evidence against the Islamic State group, an orange notebook half filled with notes on Ottoman history, and a keepsake, the first book from Amazon delivered to Mosul. He passed the night in despair, imagining all the ways he could die and the moment he would leave his mother in his city. He had spent nearly his entire life in this home with his 5 brothers and 5 sisters. He woke... Blah, blah, blah. I'm leaving, he said. Oh, come on. That's right, I didn't want to have to... apparently, this guy went undercover as a historian and blogger. As ISIS turned the Iraqi city he loved into a fundamentalist bastion, he decided he would show the world how the extremists had distorted its true nature, how they were trying to rewrite the past and forge a brutal Sunni-only future for a city that had once welcomed many faiths. He knew that if he was caught, he would too be killed. Quote, I am writing this for the history because I know this will end. People will return, life will go back to normal, is how he explained the blog that was his conduit to the citizens of Mosul and the world beyond. Quote, after many years, there will be people who will study what happened. The city deserves to have something written to defend the city and tell the truth, because they say that when the war begins, the first victim is the truth. So this guy embedded himself in ISIS and is giving you the real background story of the evil monsters that run that terror group. So that's from the AssociatedPress.com. You can go and check out more of his story. Chronicler of Islamic State killing machine goes public, and that's at apnews.com. Now let's jump to this other article. Let's get into some more sexual allegation news. Flashback. I just did a report on this the other day of how 3 years ago, I believe, over 3 years ago, I did a special report entitled Pedo Profile, the truth about Bryan Singer being a serial rapist and child molester, and I covered that flashback, as he just had a movie canceled when I did that flashback video there just a couple days ago. But now there's more coming out about the child molester, sexual serial rapist. Bryan Singer, the director of X-Men, sued for alleged 2003 sexual assault of teen, promised acting roles in exchange for silence. This is exactly like the story I covered before, and this is yet another lawsuit against this pedophile. This guy needs to go to prison. A lawsuit is not enough. We need to have a criminal investigation against Bryan Singer, and I am sick and tired of hearing about this scumbag in the news. He's already been fired from Bohemian Rhapsody. The director is now facing a lawsuit for sexually assaulting a 17-year-old boy in Washington State in 2003. This guy needs to go to prison, you guys. He needs to go to prison. He keeps denying the allegations and getting away with it and paying these kids off, and it is disgusting. The incident described in the filing supposedly occurred on a yacht of 14 years ago, where Singer invited the then teen to a secluded back room and allegedly assaulted him. The gathering was hosted by technology investor Leslie Waters, who frequently hosted parties for young gay males in the Seattle area. The suit notes, it should be noted that the age of consent in Washington State is 16 years old, which is likely why first claim here is for sexual assault and not pedophilia or underage sex. Gosh, I don't know why the age of consent is 16, but in earlier years, apt pupil, a 14-year-old extra named Devin St. Albin, had filed a lawsuit claiming the filmmaker had ordered him and other minors to strip for a scene that was shot in showers. This is also not the first time Herman Law and Bryan Singer have been encountered each other. Jeff Herman was Egan's lawyer against Singer. Egan is the guy that I cut. Michael Egan is the guy I covered in my earlier video like 3 or 4 years ago. Michael Egan III, who filed a lawsuit against him alleging the director had drugged him and forced him to have sex at parties at his mansion with other people as well. But it goes on to say, the lawyer who is currently taking on the Weinstein Company in a $5 million suit over Harvey Weinstein's sexual misconduct ended up dropping Egan as a client as the case became thinner and thinner. The Miami-based attorney eventually apologized to Singer and others named in the matter, but now looks like he's back at him again, and more evidence is arriving because they keep trying to bury this and they keep trying to protect Bryan Singer. I don't know why this guy is so important to the pedophile network community, but he is a key player and we need to put him in prison. He is a pedophile and a rapist. Bryan Singer needs to go to prison. And that's all I have to say about that at the moment. Here is an article from theweek.com. Al Franken isn't sorry. And I covered that yesterday on my episode of Radio Bravery Live entitled Put a Cuckoo Bird on It, Portland, Oregon. But it's a comfort to note that today was perhaps the very last time that any of us will have to see the self-satisfied visage of Senator Al Franken leering contemptuously from the floor of the Senate. What I do not understand is why. No one who listened carefully to Franken's remarks this morning could walk away from them with any notion of why he was bothering to resign. He stood there in his purple tie, grinning smugly, explaining as if to a sensitive child why he had done nothing wrong. He is a sexual predator, and we all know what you did, Al Franken, and that's why you're resigning, because you were forced to, because the people will not stand by any longer. The silent majority has spoken, and we are done with your criminal, scumbag, sexual harassing, sexual assaulting garbage. Without referring to any specific incident of sexual misconduct or even mentioning the names of any of his accusers, he calmly insinuated that all of the 8 women have accused Al Franken of sexual assault or misconduct. All of the 8 women who have come forward to talk about how they felt my actions had affected them are liars or victims of confusion. That is what this scumbag feels like, and this is what he thinks of you. This is what he thinks of you and women. And he is not a protector of women. He is a deceiver. He is an ultimate deceiver. And that's what these people are. These predators, they are incredible at deceiving. They are psychological leeches who use their power over you to manipulate you and to trick you and to deceive you. And that is what happened for a very long time with this non-funny piece of garbage, sexual assaulter Al Franken. And after the 8 women who have accused him of sexual assault, he is now done, and the people have spoken. And this is incredible. I don't give a shit if you're sorry or not sorry, Al Franken. You should be in prison. Let's move forward. This is incredibly important breaking news that just broke yesterday. This is at foxnews.com. You can also find it at infowars.com and drudgereport.com. Corey Feldman's 1993 audio files naming alleged sexual predators found finally by Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office, and everyone was making fun of him. Everyone's, Corey Feldman's a liar, he never went to the police. Oh, actually he did. In 1993 he named all of the sexual rapists and assaulters and pedophiles who are running Hollywood. He named them all, folks, and they found the testimony that he gave to the sheriff's office. Has Corey Feldman been vindicated? The former child actor claimed in October that he had given the names of sexual predators in Hollywood to the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office in 1993 during their investigation into Michael Jackson's molestation charges. The Sheriff's Office denied those claims, saying they had no records of Feldman revealing such information until now. Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer Kelly Hoover told Fox News on Tuesday night in an emailed statement, following the recent inquiries into the Sheriff's Office interview of Mr. Feldman in 1993, the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office conducted an additional review for any stored items remaining from the Michael Jackson investigation. In a container which included the original reports from the investigation, the Sheriff's Office located some detective working copies of audio recordings made during the investigation. A copy of Mr. Feldman's interview was located. The recording is being turned over to the Los Angeles Police Department now, and due to the fact that this case involves the alleged sexual abuse of a child, we are unable to comment further, and any documentation or evidence related to this case is exempt from release. So that is incredible news. Corey Feldman will now hopefully may be vindicated. I don't know. We will continue to cover this daily, and I hope that this poor guy is vindicated. I hope that he can finally live safely and in peace, and not have his life threatened, having cars drive at him in the middle of the road trying to kill him. This guy deserves some peace. He's 46 years old. He's been fighting the pedophilia network for 20 years, for 30 years. This poor kid has been a victim. His best friend killed himself because of it, and this is where we are. So we'll continue to cover that, and I really hope that Corey Feldman gets some vilification. It's about time. Let's move to another, the newest accusation. New Dustin Hoffman accuser claims claims harassment and physical violation on Broadway. This is another guest column written. Catherine Rosetter performed 8 times a week with the star in Death of a Salesman, but she writes, a dream job soon became a horrific, demoralizing, and abusive experience at the hands, literally, of one of my acting idols. So this woman has now accused Dustin Hoffman of sexual violation and harassment. So we will continue to cover that. Usually what happens here lately is once one person comes out, another, and then you know if it's real or not. So we'll see what happens here in the future with Dustin Hoffman. But then we got this one from newswars.com, one of the best new news websites around. Super clean, loads extremely fast, no ads, no problems, no pop-ups. This site is great, newswars.com. Go there right now and check it out. The headline is, "Despite knowing Weinstein's behavior, Hillary Clinton still took his cash. Follow what Hillary does, not what she says." And that's what Martin Luther King told us all to do. I don't know if you remember that. Hillary Clinton's campaign was warned multiple times of Harvey Weinstein's sexual misconduct, but proceeded to take money and support from the now disgraced Hollywood film producer. Actress Lena Dunham and veteran journalist Tina Brown gave clear warnings to the Clinton campaign that Weinstein was an abuser of women and that it was unwise for Clinton to associate with him. Quote, I just want to let you know that Harvey's a rapist and this is going to come out at some point, Dunham claims to have told Clinton's campaign deputy communications director. The actress recalls adding, quote, I think it's a really bad idea for him to host fundraisers and be involved because it's an open secret in Hollywood that he has a problem with sexual assault. Dunham's warning came in 2016 after she became alarmed over Weinstein's visible presence in the Clinton campaign, reports the New York Times. Editor and columnist Tina Brown asserted that she warned Clinton's inner circle in 2008 that Weinstein's misconduct around women had escalated. Quote, I was hearing that Harvey's sleaziness with women had escalated since I left talk in 2002, and she was unwise to be so closely associated with him, Brown told the Times in an email. Weinstein was a major Democratic Party donor who shuffled tens of thousands of dollars into Hillary's 2016 presidential campaign. Yeah, just so happens tons of people who donated to Hillary Clinton and are friends with Hillary Clinton are rapists and sexual predators. Weird. So is Bill Clinton. They're all buddies. Bill Clinton was flying with Harvey Weinstein on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. That's come out now. And there's an open investigation by the FBI into Weinstein and Bill Clinton. Did you know that? Look it up, folks. Knowledge is power. Follow the actual headlines. Real news at Radio Bravery. Along with holding fundraisers in 2015 and 2016 to support Hillary's campaigns, Weinstein also donated enormous amounts of money to the Clinton Foundation. In light of the initial allegations against the Hollywood producer, the Clinton campaign claimed they were shocked by the reports. Oh, shocked. Oh, shocked. No, you were warned and you knew and you love that guy. Just like Meryl Streep. He's God. He's God. Harvey Weinstein's totally God. Oh my God. Harvey Weinstein, I want to thank God. Disgusting. Now I'm going to jump to a little bit of let's see. Is this so I'm gonna jump here real quick to a video so we can have a little bit of humor here for the moment. This is from Infowars.com. Or no, excuse me. Oh, here we go. So this is from Infowars.com. I'm going to leave this broadcast here with two videos at the end of this episode of Radio Bravery Live. The first one is from a article entitled YouTube Targets Infowars Video for Featuring Alex Jones. Now, Time Warner is now trying to claim that they own Alex Jones's image, and they are taking down videos with him in it from him putting it out. So they're trying to actually take down a person's video because it has that same person in it. Like, Alex Jones puts out a video, and it's a video of him that's made by someone else, and they're saying he can't use the video of himself. So it's incredible, the amount of deception that's going on by YouTube and how they're trying to censor everything. They do not want you to see this stuff, folks. Because the video that they played is by Super Deluxe, which I've played numerous videos by them of Alex Jones, because they're hilarious. And they don't work against Alex Jones, they work for him. And they're starting to realize that, and they better stop making these videos, because it's just making Infowars more popular. It's so incredible. It is so hilarious. But this video is it cracks me up, man. And this is Owen Schroyer playing this video from Super Deluxe of Alex Jones like harassing his guests supposedly, because Alex Jones is a real guy, man. He's on air 4 hours a day almost every single day for free, giving you free HD live stream news and video free every day, all day, hours. This guy is unfiltered. He has no teleprompter. He just talks, and he's just himself. He's not perfect. He doesn't claim to be perfect, and sometimes it doesn't come off too great. But it is, you know, he's trying his best, and he brings the news. I mean, he brings the truth. And if you can find things to prove Alex Jones wrong, please try. That's his entire goal. Try to prove him wrong, because usually and almost always you cannot, because he is accurate and correct. So let's play this video by Owen Schroyer. This is like the beginning of the War Room, this is the beginning of the War Room episode where they play the Super Deluxe video. Here I'm going to start the display capture so you can see that video.
Welcome into the War Room. I'm your host, Owen Schroyer. It's Monday, December 5th, 2017.
This video is hilarious.
And there's been some haze around the story that surfaced as anti-Trump text messages found on Mueller's team. It then came out that it was a guy, Peter Strzok. Now more is being revealed about Peter Strzok. Specifically, the interesting intel here is that it's been Peter Strzok who's been in charge of handling Hillary Clinton's email investigation and interviews into that, as well as the Flynn interviews, as well as, in fact, you know what? I've got that list right here. Oh, yes, that's right. The Comey investigation, as well as members of Obama's team. So basically, you got...
Okay, I think I might have actually clicked away from the actual clip. Let me see here. Let me pull this up one more time here. So this is the actual article from Infowars.com. YouTube targets Infowars video for featuring Alex Jones. Then I believe once I just click this, it's already at the, oh yeah, 4-minute clip. So this is, so let's go ahead and play this right here.
No more waiting. Here is Super Deluxe, the most recent Super Deluxe video of Alex Jones. They think that this somehow hurts Alex and hurts us. No, it actually puts more wind in our sails and entertains us. So here's the latest from Super Deluxe.
Roy Moore, 30 plus years ago, told women, some of them who might have been under 18, they were pretty. Well, you know, and I mean, all the time, I'll sit there. Well, I've got 3 daughters, but I'll sit there, you know, at a play or whatever, and tell girls, you sure look nice. It's Hollywood. They're the ones all doing it. That's like a Texas thing. They say don't even do it. They're like, hey, sweetie, how you doing? I'll say to, you know, like, waitress come over, how you doing, darling?
Yeah, you can't.
And like Northerners go, what the hell? That woman just called you darling.
Yeah, you can't say darling.
That's what you do in the South.
I love how they zoom in on their
and
faces.
These are women on Facebook. We don't even know what they're doing yet. He's, of course, denying it all.
Can't get a word in, huh?
Well, you know, no one's. You just know this is the next for everybody. This is it.
Thank you, Super Deluxe.
But you know, and they make it so uncomfortable that if you're with your kids at the park, you're not supposed to talk to other people and their families if you're a male. But then, meanwhile, they allow the sexualization of children.
Yeah, it goes on and on and on, and that's how the New World Order is coming about. And
come back and join us soon. Saturday Night Live, the big bellwether, the canary in the coal mine that killed its ratings going after Trump and all their lies and calling me racist with no proof. Alec Baldwin, Alex Jones, very racist. Darren, what do you make of this?
These guys are funny. I'll admit, a lot of.
And I do too, but why won't they let us escape?
So they can't just be anti-Trump all the time. It's killing the ratings. And it's
the globalists.
But look,
you've got a stack of articles there. Give us some of those headlines. I'm going to play this.
This one is pretty huge. I don't think you've seen this one yet. This article only lasted for 24 hours.
And they pulled it. I saw it. I saw it today because it showed that basically it was Hillary.
Yes. The DNC and the Clinton campaign.
And what's incredible is you've got to watch this and keep track of it because that's where the propaganda is.
And people like, that's where they get...
You've been saying that for the 7 years you've been here in InfoWars.
Because this is a thing.
They got a big problem. Trump, 10 months in, 11 months in, is delivering.
They're losing influence, is what...
I agree. So I'm not against Democrats or Republicans. I'm against the Democrats because they became so selfish or inwardly focused Stalinistic. But we've got the big news here, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, that's funny
Body
stuff.
is nothing more than 90%
obviously edited.
wrong.
Oh, this has to be classic.
You focus all your efforts on...
Isn't it a colony organism? Isn't the body really a colony organism? I've seen the studies, like hundreds of times more powerful than a geese's system. We've got like total radio transmitter. Our brain's like this huge pickup system, huge radio receiver.
It's not 90% evil and 10% good. Right now, the...
No, I'm not trying to... I agree that we're turning...
Hey guys, I'm sure that we have the full video at Infowars.com.
Oh man, that video just cracks me up, dude. I love Superlux's videos. They are hilarious and they're making Infowars bigger than ever as they now have like 5 studios. Thanks, Super Deluxe. Thank you so much for helping to expand the Infowars studios to different cities all over the country. Yeah, it's really great, and we're gonna keep. They're gonna keep expanding, so that's happening right now. But I'm gonna go lastly to this interview with what's his name here, Jason Goodman from the Crowdsource the Truth group. Talking about the Bundys and Cliven Bundy and what's been going on with that. And I was listening to this last night and I just thought that I needed to play this whole interview because it is so good and so intriguing and so disgusting what's going on with Cliven Bundy still being held without actual trial. He's losing teeth now. He's in his 70s, I believe, and this poor guy, just for trying to defend his land, is being held in one of the most horrid prisons in the country, it seems like. So let's go to this interview with David Knight and Jason Goodman from Crowdsource the Truth.
You found it. It's the real news with your host, David Knight.
Welcome back. I'm David Knight, and we're going to talk to Jason Goodman. Jason has had a 20-year career as a director and a cinematographer. He left that to become an independent journalist. And you can find him at Crowdsource the Truth on YouTube, on Periscope, on Facebook, on many social media outlets. Also, you'll find him on Twitter at CS The Truth. YouTube, the channel name is Jason Goodman. Thank you for joining us, Jason.
David, thanks so much for having me back on.
I wanted to talk to you again because last time we had you on, we were talking about the fact that the prosecutors,
very articulate, well-spoken,
and those
really like this Jason Goodman
concealed
guy.
the fact and lied about the fact that they had surveillance cameras. You showed the surveillance camera that people were crowdsourcing, said, yeah, it's probably something like this based on the descriptions that people had. Then they got pictures of that. They got pictures of them setting up as snipers. And I think even the Judge Navarro, who's been so incredibly biased towards the prosecution's case, withholding a lot of information from jurors in previous trials, even she started to pull back. And as she'd been told that the Bundys and those around there that were under arrest, they've been held for nearly 2 years without bail. She realized that, hey, you know, maybe these people are lying to me. Maybe they're not a threat to the community. And they were able to remove some of that. But there's some other irregularities that are going on in the process. Tell us about that in terms of attorney-client phone calls and things like that.
You know, you're right, David. And the thing is, I want to be very, very upfront with your audience. I did not know very much at all about the Bundy situation before I went to the trial there in Nevada. Members of my crowdsourced community, people who are in the audience watching my show, were sending me a lot of information. And I went to the trial to see firsthand what was going on. And in only 2 days of being at the trial, I personally witnessed what appeared to me to be such egregious impropriety on the part of the prosecution that I started digging into this more. And some members of your staff brought it to my attention that Blaine Cooper is in this problem where confidential phone calls between him and his attorney were handed to the prosecution. Now, that's a violation of the attorney-client privilege, an obvious violation of Blaine Cooper's rights, and obviously incredible advantage for the prosecution. So, I mean, even in the short time that I've been investigating this case, we see what is called in the law a pattern and practice on the part of the prosecution, on the part of the government, who are trying to, keep the Bundys in jail. As you pointed out in our last segment, these gentlemen have been incarcerated for almost 2 years, and they haven't even had a trial yet. So my position on this is, again, without being a lawyer, without knowing the exact details, I wasn't there at the standoff in the way that you were, and I haven't been following this nearly as long as people like John Lamb and Brand Thornton and all the other journalists that have been so on top of this. But I was just blown away by the things that I'm learning just in my research preparing for this segment. Now,
well, that's very important, to come into something like that and for it to be so obvious, so apparent. And we've seen this in the past, too, from trials like that of Ross Ulbricht at Silk Road. When the government wants to get somebody, when they want to make a point here, they feel that their authority is being threatened in some way, that freedom may be breaking out, they may be returning to a rule of law, they will double down, they will pull every unjust trick in the book to get a conviction. We've seen that in the previous trials of some of the people associated in this Bundy situation. We saw it with Silk Road and Ross Ulbricht, just an amazing case there. But the idea that they would get rid of bail, the idea that they would listen in on phone conversations between the defense and their clients, just shutting down every aspect of the protections that have been there for a long time to protect and to make sure that we have a fair trial. They're not interested in that.
And, David, these are some of our most important fundamental rights as citizens of the United States. So, again, I urge everyone, even if you don't like the Bundys, even if you think the Bundys are guilty of a crime, you must be outraged by the fact that they are not being afforded the rights that we all, these are our unalienable rights. They need to have a fair trial. They need to not be sitting in jail. They need to not have laser-guided football cameras looking at their home as snipers surround them, intimidate them, and try to push them to the edge of doing something that would warrant their arrest. But I wanted to point out a couple of really important things that, maybe miss the attention of the mainstream media. So I began looking into what's going on with Blaine Cooper, and of course, he's incarcerated at this Southern Nevada detention center, the same place where Cliven Bundy and Ammon Bundy and Ryan Bundy were incarcerated. Cliven is still there, but some of the other gentlemen have been released, and I hope that the reporting that you've been doing and the small contribution that I've been making, I hope it played some role in that. I hope the corrupt individuals in these government agencies are getting the message that independent journalists like yourself, like myself, we are not controlled by the same large corporate interests and advertisers and financial.
That's right. They try to shut that information down. But and I honestly, when we look at the actions that they've got here, if nobody was calling them on this, if nobody was exposing it anywhere, if people on the internet, like you talked about, those the crowdsource the truth, were sending you stuff and saying, hey, look at this, we know that this is happening, that's because people are able to share stuff. They're trying to shut that down. That's why they're trying to enact social media censorship, because they don't want that information passed around.
It's very true, David. And, after we cover some of this information, I want to talk to you also about some of the more nefarious tactics that are being relied upon to try to shut down the movement that you and I are describing. But I started taking a closer look at this Southern Nevada Detention Center because, the prosecution in this matter of Mr. Cooper's attorney-client privileged phone calls being released to the prosecution, they're trying to downplay it, saying, we didn't look at it and that kind of thing. But it reminds me of the situation that we've seen in movies, and if anybody's ever been on jury duty, when someone will announce some piece of information in the court so that everybody hears it, and then the judge will stop everything and instruct the jury to sort of like forget about what you just heard. But of course, you're not going to forget about it. You've heard it. So if these guys have seen things that are relevant to the strategy, relevant to the charges, relevant to even just the temperament of Blaine Cooper, it gives them an alarming strategic advantage in a case where they're really overreaching in the government power. These guys are supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, not presumed guilty and then, prosecuted unreasonably. So I was looking at this Southern Nevada Detention Center, and I was looking at the county of Pahrump, where this facility is. Now, just in a cursory Google search, I found an alarming number of issues related to law enforcement officials in Pahrump County. And I want to point out to your viewers, Pahrump, this is an extremely rural desert county, 36,000 residents. And so for there to be, multiple law enforcement officers that are involved in lawsuits and being arrested themselves, that is
an incredibly high percentage. We talk about how small that town is and how few law, basically, it's unbelievable when you look at it as a percentage. We got to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with Jason Goodman. I'll let you pick up right where you left off. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm David Knight, and we're talking to Jason Goodman. We've been talking about some of the irregularities, some of the corruption surrounding the Bundy trial in Nevada. And as Jason was doing an investigation, he looked at a small town which had an unusual number of law enforcement officers involved in crime and corruption. This is in Pahrump, Nevada. It's in Nye County. I just looked this up in the commercial break here, Jason. I hadn't heard of Pahrump before. That's where the Chicken Ranch is, the famous legal whorehouse there. But it appears that we have some people in law enforcement that are also engaged in whoring around with various things like drug dealing and other issues. Tell us about what you found there in Nye County, a place where the population's 36,000 in Pahrump, where the Chicken Ranch is, and about 42,000 people in Nye County. But a lot of law enforcement officers with problems here.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up, David, because, during my visit to Nevada when I went to the trial, I also interviewed a woman who goes by the code name the Las Vegas Madam. And she spoke about how in her working in the sex worker industry, she was approached by FBI agents and other individuals who she refers to as CIA pimps, not to prosecute her. She was operating in a county that was not Pahrump, so she was operating where sex work was not legal, and they didn't incarcerate her for the sex work. They tried to co-opt her and get her to basically compromise political figures, including Bill Clinton. And when she refused to do that...
Honey trap type stuff.
Yes, Brownstone.
Yeah, he's obviously a pretty easy guy to go after.
Well, she refused to do it. And so then they incarcerated her and basically ruined her life. So I don't want to speculate, but it does seem like there are some strange things going on there in Pahrump County. And so I was looking into this facility, the Southern Nevada Detention Center, which is a privately owned prison that's owned by a company called Core Civic. Now, Core Civic used to be known as the Corrections Corporation of America. And I want to point out to people that, Dick Cheney's son-in-law was a lobbyist for Corrections Corporation. And someone there, Dick Cheney, was indicted for prison profiteering in Texas. So I personally believe that this for-profit prison situation is a very problematic thing that should be eliminated. I do not think that law enforcement should be financially motivated to incarcerate people, because I really do believe it directly leads to what we're seeing with the Bundys.
And of course, it drives all this war on drugs as well. I mean, you got different industries that are really pushing for drug prohibition. One of them, one of the biggest promoters of that, are the private prisons, because they couldn't build prisons quickly enough after they enacted the mandatory minimums and started locking everybody up during the Reagan administration, and they were letting violent criminals go loose, and it was boom days for private prisons, because we've got the largest prison population on the planet in terms of percentage-wise by a long shot here in the U.S. because of the drug war. But go ahead, tell us what else you found out about this corrupt county. I'm looking at these articles you sent. The former sheriff, the ex-deputy attorney general, the sheriff's deputy, the police sergeant, all these guys are involved in criminal scams. It's amazing.
I wonder if any of them wind up in the private prison facility.
No, but, probably not. Probably not, unless they're really small fish.
Yeah, I don't think so. But so you were just showing a segment there that featured the former sheriff, which is a gentleman named Tony DeMeo, and he was giving everyone on YouTube a tour of this Nye County Southern Detention Center, which he's very proud of. And if people go to YouTube, right now there's only 583 views on that video, so I hope people will check it out, because what we're trying to do is bring these things to people's attention. Obviously, the private prison, you can look up the contract that they have with the U.S. Marshals, the Office of Federal Detention, and at the time they were the Corrections Corporation of America.
Look at that.
This contract, David, is valued at a staggering $122 million.
Wow.
So there's obviously, that's shocking to me. There's obviously quite a lot of financial interest in building these prisons and keeping them profitable. We know, of course, that capitalism, which we all love, is motivated by profit, and corporations have a lot of the same rights as citizens and individuals, although they lack morality. So, you know, the only goal of a for-profit prison is to make profit, and the way they do that is by sticking people in the prison.
So that is just a major part of the interview with Jason Goodman from Crowdsource the Truth, at CS Truth. It goes on to talk about how Cliven Bundy has been being refused medical treatment, even though they have a advanced state-of-the-art medical treatment center there at the prison. And now the over 70-year-old man is losing teeth. His health is deteriorating. When they were given testimony after being in that prison, other Bundys said that they were sexually assaulted by workers there. And it seems that this is all just kind of political, and they want to make the Bundys stay there as horrible as possible. And our rights are worth more than that as American citizens. We have inalienable human rights here as U.S. citizens, and we have the right to a speedy trial and the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, and Cliven Bundy is not receiving that. So we should all be standing up for him, because it's either hang together or hang separate, and that's the way it works. So thank you so much for joining me today on this very special edition of Radio Bravery Live. I'm your host, Justin Belshaw. Again, the website is youtube.com/RadioBravery. I would very much love if you went and subscribed there today. I need to get 1,000 subscribers to be able to do live streaming from my phone anywhere I want. And I would love to get there. So thank you so much, and tune in tomorrow. I will be live again. youtube.com/RadioBravery, facebook.com/RadioBravery, radiobravery.wixsite.com/news, and then please follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RadioBravery. Now I'm going to take you out with a song by the Avett Brothers. It's kind of been my theme song. It's kind of been my theme song for the past few days. It's called Hard Worker, and that's what I hope to be, just like Donald Trump has been for this country.
I'm a hard worker every
Thank you so much. This is Radio Bravery Live. I'm Justin Belshaw.
I'm working every day. I'm a hard worker, and I'm saving all my pay. If I ever get some money put away, I'm gonna take it all out, celebrate. I'm a hard worker.
guys tomorrow live. YouTube.com/RadioBravery. I'm Justin Belshaw. Thank you so much.
And I got a